Shalom. I would like to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kakadash, the honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace to the hopeful elect scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. So I guess you can say that this is a various topics video. So let's start off with this one. So Putin has been in the news saying that nuclear arms will be used. So as you can see, I have a plethora of articles dealing with this topic. This is from Reuters. Putin warns the West Russia is ready for nuclear war. This one's from CBS News. Putin again threatens to use nuclear weapons, claims Russia's arsenal much more advanced than America's. Which, that's true. I've heard of Russia having the Mark 1 version of the Satan missile. Then they also have the second edition of the Satan missile, which I believe is a hypersonic missile, which means that it can go from one continent to another undetected. America claims that they have a missile defense system, but in reality they don't. So moving on. So there is a event that should in theory take place later this year, and the Republican nominee is DJ Trump, which isn't a surprise. In my opinion, he doesn't have any competition from the Republican Party or from the Democrats. But we have to wait and see how this situation plays out. You know what I'm saying? Because it could wound up not even taking place. This event that's supposed to happen in November. So, what are we about? 7 months out? 7 months away from that whole situation. So, we'll wait and see. But I will say this. 2024, it has gotten off to a good start. Between the talks of World War III and the economic woes and the political woes, it's all shaping up to be a checkmate that is going to happen. Because one thing you have to understand is that we're living in biblical times. These are the last days, right? Hence why you see signs from the heavens. This is solar eclipse that's getting ready to happen on April 8th. And this solar eclipse, is one of the ones where it passes through all of the United States. Look at this map right here. You see how it's shaped like an X? It passes through on both sides. And so on this day, they're saying that in certain states, schools are going to be closed. And, they're really getting ready for this event in case anything happens. Now, I'm not going to be the one that tries to tie in a doomsday-like scenario on this date, because we've seen this story many of times. Remember back in 2012, people said the world was going to end? Well, obviously, we're still here. So with that being said, let's see how April 8th takes place. I'm not going to say that nothing will happen, but I'm not going to say that something will happen, Let's just go with Occam's razor. The most simplest explanation, it's just going to be a solar eclipse. But The thing about solar eclipses are they're mentioned in the scriptures. Real quick, real quick. This is Genesis 1:14, and God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be signs, and for seasons, and for days and years." So you have the sun and the moon that are in the sky, and they both provide light, right? So they're also used as signs, signs of the times. So going back to the map of what the solar eclipse is gonna look like, it's an X. X marks the spot over America. So I take it as a sign that America is gonna be judged within the near future. So moving on, last but not least, as we all should know, the Baltimore Bridge collapsed on Tuesday. So this article is from AP News. Baltimore Key Bridge collapse, everything you need to know. A container ship lost power and rammed into a major bridge in Baltimore early Tuesday, causing it to snap and plunge into the river below. So this is going to have an effect, a bad effect, on not just the city of Baltimore, but also on, on the country, because from what I understand, you know, the bridge was a key supply chain, uh, a key supply chain. The bridge was a key supply chain component to various states. Okay, you know, they were even transporting hazardous materials around that area, and then so now they're saying that it's gonna take 4 to 5 years to rebuild the bridge. But the way things is looking, they're not even gonna get the chance to do that. They're not even gonna get the chance to complete that project, because remember what we was reading earlier concerning Putin talking about nuclear arms is on the table. So we have many components being moved around, and they're getting ready to come into place for that big checkmate. You know what I'm saying? So this Baltimore bridge collapse is also a signal on how, you know, America is just deteriorating. You know, whether this was a setup event or whether it was a coincidence, you know, I really believe it was a setup anyway. But nevertheless, you know, it's just a sign of how there's just controversy after controversy that has been taking place within this year so far. So it makes you wonder what's going to happen as the year goes on. You know, we still have to see how the event in November. See, we got to see how that takes place, how that unfolds. But I will say this, you know, the fact that there's a conflict between the left and the right lets you know that this place is divided from the core. America is divided. So let's get a scripture. This is Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So the beast is a representation of Edomite economic power, political power, military power, which today is in the form of NATO and the EU. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. The two horns represents the left and the right, the Republicans and the Democrats. And those two parties are never really on the same page. It seems like every 4 years, it shifts from the left and then it'll shift to the right, Republicans and Democrats. Biden's in office right now, and the way things is looking, Trump doesn't have any competition. I don't see anybody beating him, but we'll see how that plays out. And he spake as a dragon, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. So the first beast is talking about the ancient pagan Roman Empire, which the ancient pagan Roman Empire is back reincarnated on the earth, which is why it said the deadly wound was healed. Because ancient Rome fell, but now America is Rome all over again. They actually had the two-party system going back to Rome, the plebeians and the patricians. And so they adopt a lot of models from Rome, ancient Rome. Okay? As far as how to run a government, collecting taxes. All this is nothing new under the sun. And also, Rome had a vast military that was spread out throughout various lands. And then, lo and behold, America is the same thing today. They have their military spread out throughout the world, using the military as a flex of might or as a deterrence. Because America, the U.S. doesn't want to go to war. They really don't want to go to war. The U.S. just throws stones and hides their hands. If anything, the U.S.'s style is proxy wars. Okay? That's why you saw that event that happened in Russia, what was it, like a week or two ago, where civilians got killed, and they actually ended up catching the people that were responsible for the event. But I think that the group that was responsible for the event has ties to the U.S. Russia's not stupid. The U.S. also has ties to Israel. Okay? And guess who's one of the enemies of Russia? I think you know the answer. So all the things that you see going on in the world right now, it's just lining up for that big checkmate, like I said. So these are biblical times that we are living in. Going back to the articles, let's deal with the Republican primary, DJ Trump. So I don't know if y'all have heard or if y'all even remember, but Trump went out and said that if he doesn't win the election, it's going to be a bloodbath, which I could see that being the case, however way it plays out, whether he wins or whether he loses, it's going to be a crisis that the elites aren't going to go to waste, okay? They're going to move in with their plan, their agenda. And it just so happens that part of their plan is for them to bring in a CBDC, central bank digital currency, which in fact ties in to this prophecy that we're reading in the same chapter right here. I'm not even going to read it. Revelation 13 to 16. You know, the MOTB, the mark, which is the C hip. Okay? So, I actually shared a video a few days ago in the community section, and it was concerning the topic of the CBDC and the time frame for when it's going to be rolled out. So in the news, it was reported that it'll be rolled out within the next 12 to 24 months. But in my estimation, I think that it will happen within the next 12 months because, you know, you have to factor in this election cycle. You know what I'm saying? And also, I remember when Trump made the statement that if he gets elected, he's going to overturn the CBDC. Now, why is he talking about that? It's because it's real. Now, if he does win, I don't see him overturning it. You know, this wouldn't be the first time that he said one thing and you know, done another. So, I say give it another year or two. We're going to see how the MOTB prophecy unfolds because that is a major prophecy. You know, I've been saying this, you know, the destruction of Babylon from World War III isn't going to happen until Revelation 13 and 16 is fulfilled. That prophecy has to be fulfilled. And it also ties in with Jacob's trouble, which 2024 is coined the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. So we're about, give or take, 7 months, 8 months away from the election. We got to see how that unfolds. And then also, you have to factor in the inauguration period, which usually takes place in January. So January would be the beginning of 2025. So I think that, you know, to sit down, strap up, you know, get ready to see how things play out. Because, you know, 2020, you think 2024 had a rough start? You think it's rocky in 2024? Man, we're not even halfway through the year yet. And then we're not even obviously in 2025 yet, assuming we get there. So we're seeing how things are lining up. We really are. You know, these are the last days. So I'm gonna end on that note. Hope y'all found this video edifying. Shalom.